Plant toxicity is when animals gain access to plants that have toxic properties, and they can then go on to cause clinical signs. There's a lot of plants that have the potential to cause toxicity, and I couldn't give you an exhaustive list of them all, but there are a few common ones that crop up time and time again. So in sheep, the classic one would be Pieris leaves, related to rhododendron. Rhododendron would also be a classic one that we see. Usually found in gardens, can also be found in hedgerows, and causes clinical signs ranging from teeth grinding, sheep can be foaming at the mouth, they can be recumbent, they can have neurological signs, or it can cause sudden deaths as well. So Pieris and rhododendron would be the classic one that we see in sheep. Other ones that we see that can cause sudden death would be hemlock. It's usually found on riverbanks, so if cattle have strayed onto a riverbank, it's the root that's the toxic part. Yew is the classic one that most people are aware of, that can cause a sudden death really, really quickly, and is literally diagnosed by the presence of the plant in the mouth or in the guts, as we find it. There are plants that cause photosensitization, so if you've ever seen photosensitization, you'll not forget it. It basically looks like sunburn on the white parts of an animal, so sheep and cattle are both predisposed to this. It can be primary, but it also can be secondary to ingestion of plants that cause liver damage, such as bog asphodel, St John's wort. Ragwort would be the other one. And the other two that crop up time and time again are bracken poisoning and acorn poisoning as well. These can cause blood in the urine and blood in the faeces, as well as sudden deaths. Diagnosis of plant toxicity can be quite tricky. We often go on clinical signs and the presence of the plant. Sometimes we hit the jackpot and we find the plant in the guts of the animal. And yeah, the presence of it being there and having an animal with a consistent clinical signs would be a diagnosis. Often we will exclude a lot of other causes of sudden death as well though, such as clostridial disease, and if we don't diagnose them and there's the plant in the area, then we'd advise that the farmer either moves the animals or gets rid of the plant. Other causes of poisoning that can be really tricky to diagnose: exposure to blue-green algae. So often in the summer you'll get algae blooms on stagnant water, and you can get neurological signs, particularly in cattle. They tend to be probably more prone to drinking larger volumes of water. These can be really tricky to diagnose, and often it is a diagnosis of exclusion. There's nothing else that's caused these signs, therefore the blue-green algae is present, therefore that's probably what's caused the clinical signs. So what can you do on farm to prevent it? Just be aware of where your animals are grazing and the potential for them to be exposed to other plants. So is there woodlands nearby? Is it well fenced off? Does your grazing back onto gardens? So is there potential for garden waste to be dumped over the fences? Just keep an eye on all of these things. Another thing to be aware of is if you're grazing brassicas, there's a potential for nitrate toxicity. So just do so in conjunction with a nutritionist so it's done properly. There's plenty of other supplementary feeding available. And just be aware of what you're feeding them and make sure that it's safe. What to take away from this video is just be aware of the potential for your animals to come into contact with toxic plants. In the summer it's generally at grazing. There's going to be another video following to do with winter plant toxicity, so there's other things to watch out for in winter, but in the summer just be aware of what's in your grazing, what they have potential to come into contact with, and if you have any clinical signs just speak to your vet as soon as you can.